Hello everybody, how's it all going? I hope everyone's going well as usual. Even the 58% of you that have not subscribed to this channel yet, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Well, I'm going to continue the 43 players in 43 days. I'm going to do ZACH REID today. I decided to do this one today. I've been kind of doing them at random. I chose ZACH REID because he did do an interview yesterday at Essendon and he had a few interesting things to say. I thought I'd just take a couple of snippets from that. This is from the Essendon website. I've cut it down into just some key points. It's only about 30 seconds I've got. So here is what he had to say.
Yeah, feeling good. I've had a pretty clean off season, so I got injured mid-year and then got the hammy fixed up, and then I've had past 8 weeks to sort of get fit, and I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah, it's been a journey. I feel like I'm probably not your usual body shape, so it's a bit harder, like long legs, short torso, real tall. So been learning about my deficiencies and the importance of like your hips control and that sort of stuff. That's probably been the main one. And yeah, absolutely. This will be, if I get through this pre-season, it'll be my third pretty consistent one. So hopefully I reap the rewards of that. And I had a good one last year and played 10 good games. So hopefully I'll play another 10 good games on top of that. Yeah, Matthew Inness has been great, and the team he's put together. I feel like our off-season program has been top-notch, and I think a lot of the boys agree. And it's really individualised, so I think the boys are liking that, and I've enjoyed it. It's been good.
So I thought that was interesting just because obviously we know ZACH REID's injury issues. He's only played, a handful of games in his career, only played 19 games in 5 seasons, which is almost nothing. So it really is something that he needs to get under control. And saying that Matt Inness has very specialised, individualised programs, he did seem to speak rather glowingly of him in that interview, in those answers to the questions. I mean, obviously he's going to. What else is he going to say? He's not going to criticise him. But it did seem like just answering it that there was something different about the fitness program this year than last year from what he's seen so far. And Zach's one of the people that needs it to be individualised because, as he said in that interview, he's got very long legs, small torso, and some of the injuries he's had have been, really unusual. Like the hamstring injury he had last year where one muscle in the hamstring was bigger than the other, so he had to try to work on the hamstring that was of the smaller muscle or something like that anyway to get them up to the same size, because that was apparently causing an issue. He's had all sorts of problems. We know what the issues are. He's 23 years old. He's a defender. He was picked 10 in the 2020 draft. He was that draft class along with Nick Cox and Archie Perkins. Of the three of them, whilst he's played the least amount of games and therefore shown the least in a games sense, I think his potential has been the highest so far. I think last season, the first 10 games he's played was better than anything that Perkins and Cox have produced. So despite his low volume of games, his ceiling that he showed of those 3 draftees is the best. And I think if he can get on the park, and it's a big if because he hasn't been able to do that at any stage in his career, but the small snippets he has shown show that he's probably going to be the best player of those 3 players. He's an excellent player. We kind of really didn't get to see it until last year, but his intercept marking is fantastic. Even his leadership, he's a very reliable kick. He's composed under pressure. He's got precise kicking skills. He's got all the things you need for a defender. All he needs to do is get on the park. So in terms of his investment, what we've paid for him, pick 10, he hasn't delivered yet. Obviously, we know that. I like to talk about this. It's important to look at where a player was picked up and what they give us, because that tells us if they're giving value. And so far, through not a lot of his own fault, I mean, I'm assuming this is not his own fault. I'm assuming he's taking care of his body and everything. But through no fault of his own, he just hasn't been able to get on the park. So the investment so far has failed, but it's still early in his career, 23 years old. And he did say in that interview, he played 10 games. He hopes next year to play another 10 on top of that. And I'm really curious to see what he can produce with a full season, because what we saw last year in the first 10 rounds was pretty good. If you have a look, he averaged 15.4 disposals, 4.3 contested possessions, nearly 8 marks a game, but importantly, 5.5 intercept marks per game. He's just a really, really good player. A game against Sydney in particular, he had 27 disposals, 14 marks, 9 intercept possessions. I think that was the best game of his career. And that was the game Lewis Hayes went down, if you remember, where we held off a fast-finishing Sydney. I remember coming away from that game with, after Zach Reid had played, thinking, we got something pretty special here. And at that point, he'd played every game for the season. And it's important noting as well that from rounds 2, from the game that we got smashed against Adelaide early in the season, from then up until about round 8 or 9, he didn't have a single goal kicked on him from a one-on-one contest. So that was an amazing statistic, and maybe it's a little bit of an anomaly, but it does show you that, you don't go 7 weeks in a row without having a goal kicked on you unless you're a damn good player. So he is a key pillar in our team. We need him. And one thing he does as well, he actually gets the ball. Now, this is not something that you normally associate with defenders, but compare him to Mackay, for example. Mackay is a reasonable one-on-one defender. He actually wins about 85% of one-on-one contests. I'll make a video about Mackay later. But Mackay, it's not uncommon for him to finish a game with 5 possessions. Now, it's not all about possessions. I do go on about that a little bit. I know that. But Zach Reid does have the ability to peel off and create targets as well, and create a running target out of the back line once we've won the ball in defence. He's not just good at intercepting and marking. He's good once the ball hits the ground and Essendon has the ball to peel off and actually create space and create a chain. Mackay can't do that. He's good at the one-on-one stuff, but he doesn't have the ability to get 15, 16, 17 possessions a game like Zach Reid does. And that's one of Zach Reid's strengths. So I see Zach Reid as someone who still has a high ceiling. And in terms of his improvement, yes, obviously we're expecting improvement. I'm going through what we expect out of these players. This is a no-brainer. You've got a 23-year-old that's been injured most of his career. He's obviously got a lot of scope for improvement. And there's a lot of pressure on, there's pressure on him. There's also pressure on the fitness staff. There's pressure on Matt Inness and others to make sure they can get this guy on the park, because I really rate him. I hope most of you do too. I just hope he can get on the park in 2026. And he's fit now. Everything's going well. So hopefully he can have a good preseason. A good preseason is important. He did say he did 3 good preseasons in a row. So hopefully third time lucky and he can get on the park. So the questions I have got for him in terms of 2026. The first one is the obvious one, is how is he going to manage his injury recovery and fitness to increase his durability? That is partly on him, partly on the fitness staff, and partly on a bit of luck. Obviously, it can't all be luck. If things have been going wrong 5 years in a row and he's played 19 out of a possible 110 games, that can't be just luck. There has to be maybe some bad management in there somewhere. Can he get on top of that? The other one I've got is, can he show enough to get into the leadership group? Now I see him as a leader. The reason he's not in the leadership group is because he's played 19 games. How can someone who's not on the park, played 19 games, be in the leadership group? But what I saw of him last year was a potential future captain. Now, not everybody can be captain, of course, but I saw that in him from afar. Looking at him, I thought he is a future leader, and he's kind of the captain of the back line, a little bit down there. If he can get on the park and play, a close to a full season, can he work his way into the leadership group? Lastly is, can he be more versatile? Whilst he's an excellent key defender with great skills and composure, he is sort of typecast a little bit as a defender and only a defender. Can he play multiple roles around the ground effectively? It's something he hasn't shown yet. He hasn't been asked to or necessarily been required to, but can he do that? So they're the 3 questions I've got. Let me know what you think about Zach Reid, one of our best players. We hope he can get on the park this year. My expectations of him are high. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Leave a like, make a comment. Have a great day. And as always, go Bombers.